The following is produced by 5 Star Productions USA, which is solely responsible for its editorial content.
Third and goal for the Owls at the St. Mary's 2-yard line. Allen pitches back to Parker around right side, into the end zone, touchdown FAU.
It's the Howard Schnellenberger Show with FAU head football coach Howard Schnellenberger and your host, former Miami Dolphin Jimmy Cefalo.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Howard Schnellenberger Show. I'm Jimmy Cefalo. FAU's record falls to 3-3 on the season after St. Mary's wins at Pro Player Stadium on Saturday afternoon. The final score 24-10. The Gales take it over the Owls. Coach Schnellenberger, a difficult afternoon in a couple of respects. One, the weather was not cooperating. And two, your young football team is going up against a very sophisticated offensive philosophy.
Well, I had hoped that it would rain in cats and dogs, to be very honest with you. They did have a bunch of fumbles, but we thought maybe that would slow down that sleight of hand kind of offense that they run. They had come in as the second leading offensive generator in the conference, or in Division I AA. And we knew we were in for a lot of different things, and it was going to take a superhuman, not only effort, but a superhuman performance, lack of errors, if we were to match up to them. And obviously we didn't get that done. Well,
their offense is a spread option is what they refer to it as, and it's basically like the old veer, I guess, that you used to see from Oklahoma or some of the teams from the 50s and 60s. What makes it so difficult to defend?
Well, first of all, they've got an offensive personnel that really fit that. They've got a quarterback that is about as good as I've seen, and a big fullback that is the first part of the option, going off tackle or up the middle, and then the great quarterback comes out to dish it off or turn it up. So you got to play man-to-man kind of defense against it, meaning that you got to have a man to tackle the fullback, a man to tackle the quarterback, and then the last guy that you have, usually your free safety, coming out of the secondary to make the tackle on the pitch. And as we'll see in the highlights, we were late getting to the pitch quite a bit.
On the other side of the ball, offensively, you stayed in the football game, but just didn't have enough of a running game to get things going.
They played an 8-man front against us, and we weren't throwing the ball well enough on first down to force them to get that 8th guy back into the secondary. And they did make it difficult for us to run and put pressure on our quarterback, the most pressure we've had all year. And Jared Allen did a good job of getting right and left, scrambling around and finding a scrambling receiver.
Which is what the positive you can take out of this. He did a nice job of moving out of the pocket.
He and our receivers are doing a good job of handling that situation. Now what we have to do is make sure that situation doesn't happen so much.
All right, let's take a look at the first half highlights. Opening drive for FAU, 2nd and 6 at the Owls' 38-yard line. Jared Allen back to pass and does a nice job of scrambling, coach. This is what we were talking about earlier.
Well, here again, too much pressure too quick. He uses all the time he's got, gets the ball to Hill, who scrambling as well in a slight gain, or I guess you'd say a nice gain.
Yeah, 13 yards down to the St. Mary's 49. Same drive, Allen scrambling again. A dangerous pass here, Coach, but again he finds Anthony Christinger-Hill for 18 yards.
Well, we had plenty of time that time. They did a good job of coverage before he had to break out of the pocket and find Hill again in the middle of the field. And as you say, you don't want to be throwing it back in there very often.
The Owls' offense was clicking down to the 3-yard line. This time he resort to the running game. And the man who scored 4 touchdowns a week ago was Doug Parker. Coach, he takes the pitch, gets into the end zone, and it looked things like we're going very well for your team.
Well, we put it in the end zone on the first drive, as we have several times this year, and generally when we do that, we end up playing pretty well offensively.
7-0 Owls at that point in the contest. Now here's a look at St. Mary's spread options we talked about earlier. Coach, lots going on, a difficult offense to defend.
Well, there's a good show with number 40 coming across. Osborne just a little bit late getting up on the line of scrimmage to cut the angle off, and they make 10 yards.
Here's a replay of it. That's Papanikolaou, the quarterback number 5 for St. Mary's, pitching back to Andre Coleman, a gain of 13 yards on the play.
Again, if we had Osborne up and Brown coming off the block, we would have shut that down for a minimal gain.
The first option for St. Mary's offense is the fullback. Number 26, Clint Wilson, takes it, finds the hole. He's hit by Mirate Boomer Johnson, but bounces off and into the end zone. Tie the game at 7 apiece.
Well, that'll happen. That's what'll happen to you if you don't get the outside stop. Now people try to take care of somebody else's responsibility and leave the first option open.
And now more St. Mary's offense. Papa Nicholas fakes the ball to Wilson this time, keeps it and rolls left, and pitches back to Anthony Johnson. So many opportunities for their offense to make plays.
It's a 3-on-2 fast break is what it is, and we didn't have all three of the options covered, and they did gain a lot of yardage, about their average for the year.
That led to a touchdown, 14-7, St. Mary's at that point. Now FAU on offense. Again, the scrambling of Allen comes out of the pocket. He finds his wide receiver, Larry Taylor, for a gain of 26 yards.
Well, I'm getting really sick of having to scramble out and complete passes this way. That's not what we practice on and not what we work on.
That led to a field goal, 14-10. St. Mary's driving at the end of the first half near the goal line. Papa Nicholas fumbles the football. Danny Hernandez picks it up, and that ends the drive. And, Coach, a big break for you because going into halftime, you were down simply by a score of 14-10, and not playing well. You still were very much in the game.
Well, that was what our thinking was going into halftime, and obviously we talked about that a good bit. And we felt we could come out, move the football, and have a heck of a second half and could win the game.
What adjustments did you try to make at halftime?
Well, the adjustments on defense were to make sure that the man responsible for the fullback was there. We did change a slant of one of the linemen to see if we couldn't get an extra man into that portion of it. And then went to some more outside rotation rather than the free safety always making the inside-out run on the pitch man.
Yeah, their fullback Wilson seemed to be successful in the first half, but you did shut him down for much of the second.
We played better the second half, even though our offense didn't put any points on the board.
All right, we're going to take a look at the second half highlights when we come back on the Howard Schnellenberger Show right after this.
The Howard Schnellenberger Show is brought to you by Applied Card Systems, an industry leader right here in Boca Raton. Fidelity Federal Bank and Trust, here today, here to stay. Boca Raton Community Hospital, we're with you every step. And 5 Star Productions, South Florida's #1 film, television, and radio production company, exceeding all expectations.
Welcome back to the Howard Schnellenberger Show. The Owls were down by a score of 14-10 at halftime. Let's take a look at the second half highlights for you. Coach, your defense played better in the second half. You forced St. Mary's to punt for the first time.
Well, we did, and that was a very good sign, and I thought maybe we could carry that on through the balance of the second half. Not to be.
FAU wound up with the football back. They were forced to punt as well, the Owls were. And St. Mary's does march downfield, but again, her defense stiffens and forces the Gales to try and attempt this field goal. It is good from Ezekiel Arevalo, and that changed the score, 17-10 St. Mary's over FAU. Now, Coach, this play was maybe the most important of the game. 4th and several yards for St. Mary's, and they try a trick play deep inside your territory.
It was a trick play that came off of a pattern that they had run before. They had hit the screen out there, and our secondary just all came flying up, and it was an easy score.
Fourth quarter, FAU 2nd and 10 at their own 48-yard line. Jared Allen finds his wide receiver Larry Taylor for a gain of 17 to the 35-yard line of St. Mary's.
This gave us a lot of hope that we had some real things going. That, coupled with this run by Colin James, put us down in there close with first down.
Down to the 21-yard line of St. Mary's, you had a chance. But on first down, 1st and 10 from the St. Mary's 11, ready to score and get back in the football game, your quarterback makes a mistake.
Well, this is one of the big mistakes he made during the day, and didn't read that safety sitting there. The tight end was breaking out, and that's where the ball should have gone.
Myron Chivas, the strong safety from St. Mary's, makes the interception and basically ends the football game. The Gales win it by a final of 24-10 over FAU. Coach, disappointed, I guess you always have to be after a loss, but what were some of the encouraging signs beside the scrambling of Allen for you?
Well, I thought our team continued to play hard, and that they continued to fight during the second half, and that it was still a football game late into the fourth quarter, early into the fourth quarter. The interception, as we saw down there, pretty much negated the opportunity. But this is a young football team, and this is the first time we've faced an offense this sophisticated and this good. This team was second in the nation on yardage gained. And so from that angle, you know, we're not about to give up on anything that we're doing or any of these kids. For them to be 3-3 at this juncture against teams that are made up virtually of all full-time juniors, seniors, sophomores kinds of classmates is not all that bad. Certainly, we always want to win our football games, and in most cases, we've been in the competition with the exception of, you know, just a couple. But we get ready this week for another good football team, and the kids are still very positive and ready to go.
St. Peter's will be the opponent this coming week at Pro Player Stadium. Coach, let's take a look at the play of the game. Third quarter action, 4th and 14 for St. Mary's at the 29-yard line. They decide to go with it, Coach, and with a trick play. This is basically a double pass.
Double pass, and what a great time to call it. 4th down, we've got to get the ball back, and you can see 3 guys coming up to make the tackle as the pass goes sailing into the end zone for the touchdown.
Papa Nicholas to Nate Brown to Andre Coleman. Touchdown 29 yards away, made the final score 24-10 in favor of St. Mary's. Each and every week here on the Howard Schnellenberger Show, we introduce you to one of the original recruits for the Owls. Today, Coach, it's number 1, DeColin James.
Well, I'm so glad that we could finally get highlights on DeColin James because he's played so well in the last 3 games, both at fullback and at halfback. Has made many good runs, a lot of good blocks, and he's really a real part of this football team.
And catches the ball out of the backfield for you, too.
Absolutely.
Yeah, all right, here's a look at number 1, DeColin James.
Football is a science. I need to learn it before I play.
Now you want to kind of take it with the inside arm, with the inside hand, okay? There we go, good. That's perfect.
The coaches showed me, he brought out my ability, he showed me the mental part of the game and what it takes to be a running back in high school. When I played off this line, I learned how to block. And I learned about the holes and I had to feel for the game. And then once I played running back, I already had the blocking skills, so that gave me an edge at playing position. Because I know nowadays coaches and scouts are looking for a running back that is versatile, that can block and also run. I have 2 sets of parents. When I'm at home, my mom and my dad, they'll teach me things in life. Yeah, what's wrong and what's right. My second set of parents is in school. My coaches are like my parents. My head coach, Paul Fraser, is like a father to me. You know? He taught me not only about football, but about life.
Don't squeeze down on the football. Now, when you come over the ball, you want to soft squeeze it. Come over the ball, soft squeeze it so that we can pull out when we need to. Make certain that the fingers now, the hands are over it, but you want to be soft with it.
One of the things that we try to make certain our players understand that you're not going to have an easy task trying to be successful. That's difficult, and you have to work at it. And many times you're going to get setbacks. But if your goal is to accomplish something, then you got to stay on task.
Coach Fraser, he helped me prepare for football, but also helped me prepare for school, like class. He told me not to settle for C's.
Education is the key. Football is a part of the education process here.
Before the game, I'm in the locker room, I concentrate on the game plan. Yeah, I try to clear everything out of my mind and think about the game. I try to think about what's my assignment tonight and how to diagnose the opposing team defense and what I need to do to contribute to the team.
One of the things about our players here, we've emphasized to them that there will be life after football.
Every college football player would want to go to the NFL, but that's not guaranteed. So I'm shooting for a degree in graphic arts. I've been drawing since I was a kid. I love art. That was my first love before football. But if football doesn't work out, I'll pursue it. That will be my career.
Welcome back to the Howard Schnellenberger Show. I'm Jimmy Cefalo. The Owls fell on Saturday afternoon. The final score 24-10 against St. Mary's of California. Let's take a look at this football game Inside the Numbers. Coach, the number that really stands out are the rushing yards for St. Mary's, 59 carries and 305 yards, an exorbitant amount of carries and a lot of yards.
And I think 200 of those yards were in the first half, and they only had 14 points at that juncture. So even though we hadn't stopped them, we had kept them off the board with the exception of the 2 times. Our offense obviously had one good drive, and then after that we really didn't get a whole lot done. Yet we were still in the game at halftime.
Passing yards total of 171 for you, many of them because of Jared Allen's scrambling ability.
Yeah, probably 2/3.
Yeah, and the other thing is this, is that St. Mary's, these are average numbers for them. They do this each and every week. All right, let's take a look at the stat of the game, and that happens to be turnovers. It was a slippery football on Saturday afternoon, Coach. St. Mary's put the ball on the ground 7 times. You recovered 2 of those fumbles. But this offense lends itself to that kind of turnover ratio, doesn't it?
It does, and actually, Jimmy, we got 3. One didn't count, as you remember.
Oh, that's right.
But we had 2 crucial ones, and this was one of them right here. This is the one that took the game away from us, or took us out of having a chance to win it. And turnovers have always been the most important stat in a game.
You wound up with 4 turnovers, 2 fumbles, 2 interceptions. With a young football team, you've got to reestablish their confidence. Have you been trying to do that this week?
Well, we certainly have, and I don't think we've lost a great deal of confidence. I think our football team is one that understands that they've got a lot to learn and a long way to go, and they're willing to work to get there.
You haven't lost 2 in a row this year, and it's got to be a goal of yours to go ahead against St. Peter's and prevent that from happening.
More so than ever before, Jim.
Yeah. All right, we'll come back. We'll take a look at that St. Peter's football team, the next game on the schedule for FAU, and also our question of the week. The Howard Schnellenberger Show continues right after this.
The Howard Schnellenberger Show has been brought to you by Applied Card Systems, an industry leader right here in Boca Raton. Fidelity Federal Bank and Trust, here today, here to stay. Boca Raton Community Hospital, we're with you every step. And 5 Star Productions, South Florida's #1 film, television, and radio production company, exceeding all expectations.
Welcome back to the Howard Schnellenberger Show. It is time for our question of the week. Today's question comes to us from Keith Blatz of Boca Raton. Coach, he asks, is consistency a problem for your football team right now?
Well, consistency is a problem for a mature football team, and for a young football team, I think it's even more of a problem. And that's been evidenced with the fact that we've won 3 and lost 3, and we don't have a streak in there anywhere. But another thing that's consistent with a young team is bounce-back ability, if there's such a word. And they've done that quite well. After each loss, they've come back prepared and have gone out and won. And we look to enhance that, build on that, and get where we can get a streak somewhere in this last part of the season. This football team, I think, has represented itself well in that as a freshman football team, we go against varsity football teams every week. And even though we haven't been successful all the time, and we've been competitive in most of the games, and are making strides and growing as we go.
If you have a question for the coach, it's easy to get involved. Simply log on to www.askcoach@vstar.com, and we'll get your question on the air here on the Howard Schnellenberger Show. Coach, you've got St. Peter's coming into town this week at Pro Player Stadium on Saturday afternoon at 4 o'clock. What kind of a football team is it?
Well, they're like Marist, and they're like Slippery Rock with a touch of option involved, and so it will give us the same type of hardships that we had in those 3 games, and we think that they're a very good football team. They're coming in with only 1 loss and playing very well at this time. So it's going to take a real effort on our part to get back up from the loss and to go out and prepare and to be ready to roll when Saturday comes around again.
Because you played against a good option team in St. Mary's of California last week, will that help you then in preparing for what St. Peter's does?
It will, if we can focus in on everything that they do and not to the exclusion of the things they do the most. What we have to do is play our basic defenses against the power running attack and the few option plays they have in. They run the Delaware offense is what they run.
What about on the other side of the ball? Offensively for you, what kind of a defense are you going to go up against in St.
Well, they're a
Peter's?
big, strong bunch of guys that play a basic 4-3 defense with standard coverages in the secondary. It won't be anything we haven't seen. Should know our signals, should know our assignments.
And so when you're talking about consistency for a young football team, it certainly helps to go against a type of defense that you've already prepared for in the past.
It does, and we tried our best not to add plays, but you know, coaches, we're always thinking about a new wrinkle that might help us. But with our football team, we've got to stay as basic as we can offensively.
Overall for your football team now at 3-3, as you said earlier, you're never accepting of a loss. But with a young program, a brand new one, 3-3 is not so bad.
We look to build on it, Jim. We look to build on it.
What do you do now as far as trying to get your players to believe in themselves that they can win, that they can be a better club?
Well, we've got to certainly correct the errors. We've got to make sure that whenever there's something that's not being done right, that we focus and we do it right. But on the other hand, we got to encourage them every chance we get.
All right, well, the football game is this Saturday afternoon against St. Peter's at Pro Player Stadium. There are still tickets available. It's fun to go out and watch this young FAU football program in action. It's a good team and one that'll just get better as time goes. So that'll do it for the Howard Schnellenberger Show. I'm Jimmy Cefalo. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you again next week.
Coach Schnellenberger's attire is provided by Moss & Hoffman, located at 400 East Palmetto Park Road in Boca Raton.
This has been a presentation of 5 Star Productions USA, which is solely responsible for its editorial content.